Hello everybody and welcome to another week of What We Ate, where we want to inspire you to make more plant-based meals in your home. Now let's get cooking. You gotta stand tall. Hello everybody and welcome back to our homestead where we raise all of our Nigerian dwarf goats for goat milk soaps. The same usual things are happening here. We did some hoof trimming and of course milking, and we are also building this little pen here for the little babies so they are separated from their moms. This month we also worked on this little plot here where we are just getting it ready to plant. Now normally we would have already had a plot of vegetables or whatever growing in the garden, but this year we really wanted to get everything situated. We laid out this black cloth so we can prevent all of the Bermuda that is growing, so that way it does not overgrow or overtake our crops for next year. So if you watched our previous videos, you know that we've been really working on this plot here for a lot of our melons and some greens and really just a lot of watermelons. Now we had to till the ground here because there was so much Bermuda grass growing, and we also laid cardboard. Now this is what we found the best way to keep it under control. This summer is of course as hot as always, so we had to hydrate and keep hydrated, but we did work on this on quite a hot day here. So first we laid the cardboard, then we laid this fabric cloth here to just prevent more light from going to the Bermuda so it doesn't grow. And then we are just adding back the gate, the fencing, so we can just enclose this whole area. Now I don't know about you guys, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get any crops out this year. I'm not too sure, maybe for fall, but man, it's just been so hot. But we finally got this plot ready and we can't wait to plant soon. Alrighty, so on to some yummy things. The first thing we made are these delicious apple crumble muffins. Now we started off with a batch of stewed apples. Now we just had some apples cooked down with some water and some cinnamon. I did not bake this with a recipe. I simply just instinctively cooked, really just free-handed everything, and I knew I had to start with some oil and a flax egg, of course, so then that's what I did. And the flax egg is just some ground up flax with some water, and let that sit for it to just kind of thicken. Then I added some sugar, some coconut sugar with the coconut oil, and once it's mixed through, I added the flax egg and some water. Now since I've been baking and cooking a lot, I kind of know what the texture should be like and what sort of basic ingredients needs to go into a muffin, so I added some spelt flour, which is home ground, some cinnamon, some cloves, some baking soda. Now the baking soda and the apple cider vinegar that I added here helps with the rise, and that is taking place of the baking powder that normally comes with cornstarch, and we don't like to use cornstarch at home, so that's what we use for leavening. And for the crumble on top, I just mixed up some flour, some coconut sugar, and a little bit of oil, and I just mixed it to make it sort of like a crumble substance. I was planning on making 24 muffins, but this did not make 24, and I'm just mixing a little bit of those stewed apples into the batter itself because that's what I wanted in the muffin. Then I just added some of the muffin batter into the lined cups here. And then once that is done, I wanted to add some more of that stewed apples on top of them and the crumble mixture. Now this is probably a very good fall sort of muffin. However, like I said, we did have some apples that needed to be used up, so that is what I made. Now we're gonna bake this at 350 for about 30 minutes or so. We're just gonna check for doneness, and once they are done, they are ready for breakfast. On this day, I didn't have one, however, the kids definitely had. I just made enough for all of them to have two, and maybe a few left over if they didn't want two of them, and they turned out really delicious. The crumble definitely added a little bit of texture as well as the apples in there. It was just a really great breakfast treat for the kids. For my breakfast, I had a lovely sweet peach. Now, it is the perfect time if you do want to switch to a plant-based diet because fruit is out in an abundance. On to lunch. Now, I did not record this part. However, this is just a pan of some grapeseed oil, some onions, some ginger, tomatoes, some black beans, and some green onions, and we just cooked that down a little bit and added some water for a sauce. Once we cooked the chickpea spaghetti noodles here, we're just going to add the sauce in here. Oh, and I did add some sesame oil and some sesame seeds, and this was a perfect, really easy noodle dish for everyone. And you can add really any vegetable you want. You can add any protein you like. We just added the black beans, and it was perfect. Very easy. This is my bowl, and I had my noodles with a side of some tofu and pea salad. For dinner, we had a collard green wrap with some potato wedges. Funny story, our washer decided to give out on us after like 8-9 years of having it. It decided to overflow and flood our laundry room, which was fun. Nevertheless, we did order one and it's coming. So today we are actually going to make some spelt bread, and we are also going to be preparing for some of the collard green tacos or wraps, whatever you want to call it. Grace decided she wanted to make it a heart-shaped spelt bread, and that's what she did, and then we are going to bake this. I do have the full recipe for our easy soda bread on the blog highpath.com. I will have this linked down below if you are interested. On to the filling, I just wanted to make a very simple broccoli stir-fry type thing. So I had some broccoli, I added some seasonings. I have paprika, onion powder, oregano, some salt, and in there I also had some onions and bell peppers. And we're just going to add some water and just cook it down. Just make it sort of like a taco meat sort of texture. And then we are going to prepare the collard greens. Now, the collard greens are such a cool vessel to use as a wrap. It holds well, it's very sturdy, and you just want to make sure that you wash it very, very well. We also decided to make some onion rings on a whim. Now, these did not turn out the way that I intended, but we did give it a try. When we cook normally, it is kind of chaotic, but you can tell that we have a lot of hands in here to kind of help out. So I have here some potato wedges that I just chopped up. I am going to season it well with some hemp oil, some salt, oregano, and then Grace is over here making a sauce. On the side, we're going to make an avocado and cilantro sauce. Once the potatoes are mixed here, I just added it to a baking sheet and spread it out very well. And then I just baked it at 425 for about 45 minutes. And once the sauce is done, we are ready to eat. Now, these are the onion rings. They were decent. We still enjoyed them. And this is our soda bread. Very, very simple to make. Once our vegetables are ready, we are ready to prepare the collard green wraps. These wraps are so easy to make. You're just going to cut up some lettuce, some red onion, some usual taco toppings or whatever you would like. Then we're just going to top them with the vegetable mix, some lettuce, some onions, tomatoes, and that green sauce. We want to lather that green sauce up, and look how sturdy the collard greens are. Now, some of you may think that it's very mustardy, but if you just season up all of your food really well, you wouldn't even be able to taste it. And this is our plate. It was lovely. It's one of our favorite summer meals so far. For breakfast the next day, our oldest son made a banana and strawberry smoothie, and this is with some hemp seeds, and it's a delicious and easy, simple breakfast. For lunch, I was inspired by sandwiches, and I really missed having sandwiches for some reason. So here I just have some soaked chickpeas put in our Blendtec blender. I will link this blender down below because it is the best blender you can ever get. I added some onions, some water, some seasonings, and I am just going to blend this up. The goal here is to make it sort of a texture where we can just pan fry it, or you can bake this if you like, and this is going to be our bread for the sandwiches. In a skillet here, I have some grapeseed oil. You can use really any oil you would like, and I am just going to fry these up. Now, because these are going to be our sandwich bread, we want to make sure that it is not too thin so that it holds up when we make them as sandwiches. And for our sandwiches, we're just going to keep it simple. I have sliced up some tomatoes, some red onions, and I'm also going to prepare some sauce for this. Now we're going to make sort of our version of ranch. We have some dill here. We're also going to add some hemp seeds, some olive oil, a little bit of water, and some seasonings. And we're going to blitz this up with a hand mixer and make it our ranch sauce. We also added some lime juice just for some acidity, and some spinach because why not? Now, if you've ever worked with dill, anything with dill really does taste like ranch, and we loved this sauce. We also prepped some romaine lettuce here, and Israel is going to be the sandwich maker. So he spread some of that sauce onto the bread, the chickpea bread. Now this is very high protein and really nutritious. It's great. We're going to layer all of our vegetables on here, some tomatoes, and we're going to season our tomatoes with some salt and pepper. Now just treat this as a regular sandwich bread. You can add any vegetable you want. Maybe some grilled zucchini is great too. And also some avocados would be really awesome in this sandwich as well. Because that dill sauce or that ranch, whatever this was so good, I did ask Israel to kind of add a little bit more of the sauce on the sandwiches. And once they're done, we're going to just chop them up in half and we are going to serve them. This sandwich was so easy to make and the kids enjoyed it very much also, and we are actually going to continue to make them. And we figured out the next time we're just going to bake them because it took a long time to make a ton of these little tiny patties to make the bread. So the next time we make them, we're going to bake them all at once. On the next day for breakfast, our oldest son made a smoothie bowl with some sliced strawberries. And for lunch, we are actually going to be making the same noodles, really just another noodle dish. We're going to use sort of the same base as we did for the last noodle dish that we made. First, we're going to add some ginger slices. We're going to cut this very small, and we're also going to use some spring onions. The goal here is to make the ginger very small so that way it's part of the sauce and it's not just big chunks of ginger. Then in a skillet on medium, we're adding some grapeseed oil, some onions, some green onions, ginger, and some baby bell peppers. We're also going to add some sesame oil, and we're going to infuse the oil with all of these delicious flavors. For a little bit more protein, we did add a little bit of leftover cooked chickpeas, and we're just going to cook this into the sauce. We added some sesame seeds, and this happened. Yeah, we added a little bit too much of the chili flakes, and I was desperately trying to save the sauce and tried to scoop out as much as possible so it's not as too spicy for the kids. On the side, we had a big pot of water boiling, and we're going to cook the chickpea noodles. Then to finish up the sauce, we're going to add coconut aminos here. This is a great substitute for soy sauce. It is salty and a little bit sweet. And then once the noodles were complete, we are then just going to pour that delicious sauce onto the noodles, and we're going to top it with a little bit of spring onions and mix it up, and that was an easy, simple lunch. My goodness, was this noodle delicious, and it's so simple. We got so addicted, we actually decided to make it like one more time after this. Speaking of addictive, we also made some more sandwiches because they were lovely. So for dinner, we soaked some lentils, some red lentils, and we're just going to rinse it with some water, and we're just going to add it all into our Blendtec blender. We're then going to add a little bit of water to this lentil so we can blend it up, and we also added some seasonings, paprika, cumin, salt, oregano, and once we blend it up into sort of a pancake consistency, we are going to preheat a skillet, and we're going to add a little bit of oil on there, and then we're going to make these little sandwich patties once again. I decided I did want to make sort of a fritter, so I'm going to prepare some vegetables. I have some broccoli here, some spring onions, regular onions, red bell peppers, and then once those vegetables were prepped, I'm just going to add it into a bowl and mix up all of those vegetables. I did end up grating some carrots. Now, if you have not been grating your carrots this way, I highly suggest you do it on the side like this. I did end up making a little bit of a stir fry with potatoes for Trey's dinner, and then we are going to be making our sandwiches on the side for our dinner. Also for this one, for future, we are going to bake them just because it's going to take way less time and it's not as time consuming. But this night we did just pan fry them. Now once those are done, we're going to cook up the fritters. These are just vegetable fritters, and we're going to cook them up in grapeseed oil in a skillet as well. And of course, here's our oldest just calling first dibs on all of the fritters. These are one of his favorite things that we make here, and it's really, really delicious. We introduce our kids to cooking very early, and so Grace here is helping out cook. We love having the kids involved because they are just so capable of so much. And here is our sandwich master. He is here assembling the sandwiches for us with extra sauce, of course, and he made a smiley face. So this is his plate. How cute. On to the next day, Grace is preparing our blender pancakes. Now I have a full recipe linked down below as well for this, and it's also on our blog highpath.com. You can definitely check it out if you want to, and they are so easy. Now I know you have some really ripe bananas at home, and some mornings you just need to get breakfast on the table as quick as possible, so this is perfect. You're gonna add all the ingredients in a blender, you're gonna blend it up, and then you're just going to fry it on a skillet, or you can bake this if you want to just make it easier for you also. We ended up switching to our largest skillet because we knew this was going to take way too long, and after we switch, we're going to just cook them all up and serve it with some date syrup, or really honey, or anything like agave syrup would be great on these too. Like I said, we are addicted to these noodles, so we made another noodle dish this week. This time I am preparing the ginger and the spring onions, of course, just like the last time, and then I'm also going to add some sliced up mushrooms and spinach. We start off with infusing the oil with these delicious ginger and spring onions because it just gives so much flavor. If you use garlic, you can also add this here too, because that just also adds a ton of flavor. We're adding some onions, some salt, and of course our chili flakes. You're just going to cook this maybe on medium-high heat just until it kind of bubbles and infuses the oil with all of that deliciousness. Then we added some mushrooms for some meatiness here. We're going to stir it around, season with salt if needed as well. And then you're going to just boil a pot of water to get your noodles ready. At this point, I added basically almost a whole box of spinach because you know, if you've ever cooked with spinach, a whole box will just yield like nothing. So I just added that here, and then we're going to finish off the sauce with some coconut aminos. Once the noodles are ready, you're going to drain, and you're going to also rinse the noodles. The chickpea noodles need to be rinsed because it will glob up into a huge dough ball. So definitely follow the package instructions. You're going to cook it, drain it, rinse it, and then you're going to toss it with your delicious sauce here. When I say that these are addictive, they really are addictive, and they're so easy to make. Now on to dinner. We are going to keep it very simple. We're just going to do roasted potatoes, red potatoes here, and some roasted vegetables. Our oldest here is helping me chop up our potatoes, and we are also going to wash up some vegetables. I have here some broccoli, some carrots, some bell peppers as well, and some onions, and we're also going to just chop these up and put it into a 9x13 pan to get it ready for our oven. It is so nice having a bunch of kids because a lot of the times they are interested in helping cook. So I have Isaiah here also helping. And then we're just going to toss our potatoes with some grapeseed oil. You can season it any way you would like. I just added some salt and some oregano, the usual suspects here, and some cumin. So now I'm just tossing it with the bowl because I didn't want to get my hands dirty. I added some salt here and then some more seasonings and just tossing them. Then we're just going to add them to 2 baking sheets, and we're going to bake it at about 425 for about 45 minutes or so, just until it gets crispy and golden brown. For our roasted vegetables, I'm just going to do the exact same. We're just going to add whatever seasonings that we feel like, some grapeseed oil, paprika, oregano, salt, and I actually added some fennel seeds on this one. And we love that anisey flavor that it gives, and we're also going to bake this about 425 for about 30 minutes. Once our dinner is done, look at all these delicious roasted potatoes, and our vegetables are done too. You want to make sure that you time it right because the potatoes do take a little bit longer, so you want to delay your vegetable cooking a little bit so everything comes out at the same time. I laid these out onto the table for everyone to just grab if needed, but I actually decided to just make a plate for everybody. So here is Trey's. I added the potatoes and some vegetables, and then I'm also going to make the kids' plates as well. We truly hope that you are inspired to cook plant-based meals. Honestly, it is not very difficult at all, and it is very, very tasty. If you are switching to a plant-based diet, whether it was for health or for just preferences, and you have some questions, we would love to hear you down in the comment section. We hope this inspires you, and please subscribe to our channel. We will see you on the next video. Bye guys!